finished up today, and tomorrow is our last full day at Apimondia. And today was spent bopping around to all the different things. So we spent some time at the expo, spent some time in the posters, also listening to like lectures and things like that. But like, if one of the unique things about this conference, this particular year, like in Denmark, is different than the other ones. There's always some type of like honey part, but in particular this year they did the global honey tasting bar. So this area that was separate, and you could walk through and taste all these different honeys, all these different countries. So there were 250 different honey samples that were brought into the country, and that was like over 40 countries. So I know that the United States only had about 8, and one of ours was one of those, which was really cool. It was nice to kind of be on this table with all these different countries. So people were tasting our honey all day. So I got there early, and I walked into this little like tasting area one of the first days, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go around and spend some time and taste all these, but I don't have time right now, so I'm gonna go do it later. So didn't get around to it, and then I needed a little downtime, so I was invited to kind of stand behind the United States part of the honey booth and just like talk about honey with people as they come by. So I was like, yeah, that's great, I'll do that. So I went over there and like sat down, and there was another American there, and we're talking about honey, and people walking up and talking to them about honey. And they're saying, oh, you need to try, this one from Africa, but it's a little bit fermented. And, people do honey all different ways all around the country. So for like fermented honey in Africa, not a big deal. In the United States, big deal. So I'm like standing there, and this guy walks over, and he's from Moldova or something like that. He walks over, and he's going down the line, and there's these wooden sticks. So there's tables everywhere, and then there's like these little wooden sticks. So and like the tongue depressor things. So he has one in his hand, and he's like going down the line, and like dips in one, puts in his mouth, dips in another one, puts in his mouth, and he's just like rapid fire. And after like tasting all of these, same stick, just to make that clear, he's dipping the exact same stick into all these honeys. And I had a stick in my hand, and I'm like, I'm gonna go try these things. And then I saw him do that, and then I looked around at like all the different people tasting honey and all the jars, and the fact that like these jars had been there for like 3 days now. And there's 7,000 people at this conference, and I just lost all my appetite to taste honey at all, and it is just like absolutely not worth it. And I just thought that was like absolutely disgusting. You have people from like all over the world with like different hygiene habits, and I am not a germaphobe, but I feel like that is a mass infection, mass disease spreading opportunity right there. So that was disgusting. That was kind of gross. I didn't say anything. I felt like it was kind of a lost cause at that point, and he threw his stick in the trash and then like kept going. So the honey show was really impressive, and I just like got to see all these things, all these different countries represented, which was a cool thing. It's one of those unique experiences that you don't get unless you come to Apimondia conference. So we saw some posters, and we listened to some lectures too. I was able to have lunch with John Hill and Cayman and Rollin and Jen from Hilco, and we talked about the expo and talked about business and some other stuff. So it's nice to see friends and make connections and do all those things at these conferences. It's very social, and that's one of the reasons I come. So we went to the city and had lunch at this really like kind of empanadas, and then I also had some like focaccia pizza, and Stephanie had like a burrito, and there was all kinds of like danishes and baked things, and we all had that. And they had this really like beautiful market, like grocery market and flowers and stuff like that, like throughout the middle of this market. So that was really nice to enjoy. It was like a beautiful day today. Even the people who like live here were commenting on like how like perfect the weather was today. So we did that, and they have a fish market there too, and that was awesome. In my old life I used to be a chef, so it was kind of cool to see all those cheeses and all those like vinegars and oils and all those fish that were, we saw that in Norway, and it was pretty incredible. And it was cool to see it here too. It had this giant monkfish, which is a ambush predator. So it's like this fish that lives on the bottom. It's got one of those little things that like hangs on your forehead, and it lures fish towards its mouth. And it's got this big, like ugly looking mouth that as soon as the fish gets close, it like grabs it. And monkfish is called like poor man's lobster because of the texture of the tail. It's a weird looking fish from front to back, and all you eat is the tail on it. But I guess some people will eat the the head as well. You can cook the head. I've never eaten the head, but apparently people do that. But it had one of those in the case. It was awesome. And me and my buddy Chris from Canada that we met on the conference went to the bar after lunch and got some oysters and a sea urchin and enjoyed on that. So that was a great part of the day. Really enjoyed that. So just another nice part of the city and this trip. Tomorrow's the last full day. I'm going to spend some more time looking at posters. It's a brand new set of posters. There was 300 put out yesterday and today, and then they took all this down today, and there's another 300 being put up tomorrow. So I'm going to like read through those, and they're super interesting, and try to listen to a few speakers and also catch up on a couple vendors that I need to speak to a little bit more. So anyways, that's my recap for today. Tomorrow is going to be the last one. Thanks.